My experience with dementia has been pretty horrific and traumatic. It's something that I have seen before. I mean, I saw it with one of my aunties, but I was not in close proximity with it. So I had no idea how it was manifest. So with our experience with Sir J, when his dementia now became kind of then went on a rapid decline, let's put it like that. It was horrific. Over the years, what we've learned since he's been properly diagnosed was that it had actually started showing signs before 2003. We noticed something that was totally unlike him. I mean, he doesn't have a photographic memory, but he's very good at learning his lines for the stage. But for this particular play, which was actually done here in Glover Hall, Shylock by Arnold Wester, he just couldn't learn his lines. It was a really difficult time. I mean, we got through the production, but the very next production after that, which was Death and the King's Horseman by Olutoyin Akande-Ajala, which was then put up in Newson, his lines were going all over the place, totally unlike him. And we kind of thought that, it had to do with the fact that he'd done so much work on television. He was finding it difficult to, he did not have the strategies anymore to learn lines for the theater. Anyway, so we there and then we did decide that he wouldn't make any more appearances on stage. But in 2012, he did make a few short appearances at the London Olympics at the Theatre Royal Stratford East. Very short appearances, and then I think soon after that, probably about 2014, I think, thereabouts, he did make another appearance in Digging for Gold, which was also then, mostly what he wanted to say, but he really couldn't do any more theater. Anyway, they started treating him for Alzheimer's, but it wasn't getting any better. It was getting worse. And he was seeing things that were not there, and it was horrible. I mean, myself and the children would just sit down and would see him doing some of these things and would just burst into tears. Or he'd insist on going out of the house. I mean, this is my husband who can be in the house for weeks and not even get to the gates. He's not interested. He's reading, he's exercising, taking walks around the house and fixing things around the house that need fixing. But this time he always wanted to get out of the house, to go. Anyway. And this is where JBS came in. Cousin of mine called me once. She was talking to me about something. I don't even know what it was. And I just burst out crying. And she couldn't. She said, "What was going on with you? I mean, this is so unlike you. What's going on? What's happening?" And then I told her everything that was happening, that I'm at my wit's end. I don't know what to do. But there's this young brother and sister medical team. And she said they've had to take care of my parents. So I'll send them to you. And he says, your husband has dementia, Lewy body dementia, or dementia with Lewy body. And that the treatment he's getting for Alzheimer's is actually making him worse. That the treatment for Alzheimer's is is against the treatment for dementia with Alzheimer's, with dementia with Lewy body. They clash. Anyway, so we finally started on the right treatment. he just gave us a breakdown. He spoke to us about what dementia with Lewy body is, and that one of its manifestations is that the patient sees things that are not there. Since then, it's been easier to manage because we understand what it is. And so that has been a great help. It's and the fact that we had been warned, put through to understand the way the disease manifests itself, it's been easier to cope. One of the things that it does do, so what it's done, the medication, the treatment is getting is just slowing down the manifestation of it. It doesn't cure it. So that's the nature of it, And JBS has been wonderful in just holding our hands on the journey, and I couldn't, wish for better doctors. They've really held our hands during the journey. JBS Gerontology Centre is so clean. It is really clean. And, that's one of the first things that really hits you. I remember there was a time when Sir J was a bit ill, and that's another thing that I find with being with JBS. There was a time when he was just manifesting in an odd way. It wasn't as if he had a cold or something. He was just being a bit more difficult than normal, and we couldn't understand it in the house. And we asked Dr. Toyin to come and just take a look at him, and she said, he has an infection. That's what's making him so difficult, that we should bring him that the best place to bring him to is the clinic, that we won't be able to manage him in the house. So we took him to the clinic, and it was such a saving grace. So apart from doing activities in the center, it is also a clinic where they can stay as long as they need to stay until they are better. So whatever infection it was he had at the time, he stayed in the clinic and until he was much better, to come home. They really can't go out on social occasions because the behavior can change at any time. I mean, it's not as if we don't go out. We do go out, but one has to be very sensitive to understanding that, okay, they've come to a point where they must leave, otherwise they're going to act out. So
to examine you, I'll have a look at that later and see whether we need to do anything else.
The staff, the nurses, the caregivers, they're very friendly. You see that they like working with old people. And all the activities that they do.
Out, mommy out.
Take yours out.
Mommy out.
Now let's go.
Like this.
Out. Again. In. Out. Again. In. Out. Again. In. Out.
Painting and, blowing air through the balloon, through the straw, and moving stuff, and then dancing and listening to music. And looking at maps and discussing what's happening, some kind of basic geopolitics. But what tends to happen is that if before the illness they were very into things, into whatever it is, whatever subject they're discussing, somehow or other, when they play that activity, like my husband, he's always been very interested in geopolitics. So whenever they have anything to do with geography or geopolitics or history, they always talk about how he's the one who knows the country, who will tell you what's happening in the country or what happened in that country or where that country is. And, he wakes up for that time, talks a lot about those things, and then he'll kind of veer off, for the rest of the session. It's been really good. He really looks forward to his activities. He goes there 3 times a week. He meets other people that sometimes he talks to them, sometimes he doesn't, depending on his mood.
The instructor must be given 101% attention.
Okay.
And be sure that the effect will be justified.
And yes, that's it. But it's been good to have the center.